Good afternoon, everyone. I am Miss Gayatri, Department of Physics. Welcome you all to the third day of our Faculty Development Program. As educators, we play a vital role in shaping the students' future and helping them to navigate the challenges with which they come across in their lives. Today's session promises to be engaging and informative with insightful discussions and practical strategies to enhance student resilience. Let's take a moment to invoke positivity and mindfulness with a small prayer song to set the tone for the day. It is my great privilege. It is my great privilege to introduce Resource Person of the Day, Dr. P. Swati, Assistant Professor and Head Department of Psychology, Usmania University, Hyderabad. She serves as the Assistant Director, UGC Human Resource Development Center, Usmania University, and is the coordinator for the Entrepreneurship Development Cell OU. She has also served as Joint Director, Center for Women's Studies at Usmania University. A practicing counseling psychologist, her academic mentorship has resulted in the successful completion of several MPhil and PhD theses. Beyond the classroom, Dr. Swati is an accomplished trainer and resource person, having conducted training sessions for prestigious institutions including the Judicial Academy, Police Academy, Forest Academy, Administrative Staff College of India, and many universities and engineering colleges across the country. She has contributed extensively to distance education and e learning, preparing courseware for IGNO, Usmania University, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, and producing audio, visual, and more content for nationwide UGC classroom programs. Her outreach extends to the media, where she has appeared on numerous television channels such as ETV, TV9, NTV, Vanita TV, offering psychological insights to the public. She has also been columnist in leading Telugu newspapers like Inaugural and Andhra Jyoti, addressing adolescent and women's issues, and has participated in several All India radio programs since 2007. Dr. Swati has presented papers at various national and international conferences, chaired sessions, and contributed several research articles and books published by the Telugu Academy Hyderabad. With her vast experience, deep insight into human behavior, and dedicated service to academia and society, Dr. Swati truly embodies the spirit of knowledge, sharing, and empowerment that this FDP stands for. On behalf of the organizing committee and all participants, I extend a warm welcome to Dr. P. Swati. Dear participants, kindly mute your audio and switch off your video for a smooth running of session. If you have a questions, please type them in the chat box in your control panel and we will address them at the end. Thank you for your cooperation. Now I hand over the session to Dr. Swati ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Mohana Gayatri. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So, for your very good introduction and elaborative introduction. I take this opportunity to thank the management and the organizing committee of this international online FDP program and the Department of Home Science and Physical Education, and special thanks to Vimala Madam Garu for inviting me to this particular session. And I really feel like the topic, the mindful mentor, and how to foster the student resilience and mental well-being. It's a timely program. I think that is very much needed. As teachers, we need to not only be related to the completion of the syllabus, but we also have to see like how we can contribute to the holistic development of the students, and especially with regard to the mental well-being. We all know like how the current scenario is. At least after the pandemic, I think people started gaining awareness into the physical well-being. We see like the kind of the diet that they are taking, going to the exercises and all these things. It is a welcome sign. But unfortunately, even today, when it comes to India, there is a lot of deficiency or not much of the time spent in understanding about ourselves, and also in making an effort to foster the mental well-being, the psychological well-being. And as teachers, we all know like we are molding the students, we have to contribute for their holistic development, not just making them get degrees as such. Sorry, I think there is an internet glitch. So I thought like I can slightly move the dongle to the other place. Hope now you are able to hear me.
Yes, ma'am. We are.
So naturally, like in this context, whatever topic you have selected, that's an apt time to really understand and discuss about how to foster the resilience in the students. So today's topic, which I'm trying to interact with you, is on classroom strategies for enhancing student resilience. So we all know like life is in roller coaster, like where sometimes we are up, sometimes we are down. But depending upon where we are in, under what situation, that will be influencing our mental well-being. Like how the biological things like blood pressure or sugar levels try to like dwindle based upon the situations in which you are in. One day the BP might be very normal, one day another day it might be high, or when the students are under the intense anxiety regarding the exams or preparing for an interview or attending a job, naturally like that anxiety will be influencing the biological measures. Similarly, it would also influence the mental well-being. So if the students have to be like resilient, I think as teachers also, we also need to be resilient, because consciously or sometimes like even without the effort, teachers will become the role models to the students. So how you interact with them, how you display your psychological courage, the hardiness in you, how you are handling the challenging situations, that would be imbibed at least in some of the students. So this resilience, if we have to contribute to the resilience of the students, as teachers also we need to be very resilient. So this topic, what I feel is not only to foster resilience in students, but also to foster resilience within oneself. This would be probably helpful. So, as long as we are in the comfort zone, everything looks very happy. We need not really make any effort. We need not stretch ourselves, and that is the reason, like, why people don't come out of the comfort zone. Also, like, if I try to try something new, if I don't achieve it, or if I'm not successful in it, how I would take it, or people who are watching me, people who are observing me, how they would be able to respond to me, how they would consider me. So, with all these inhibitions, fears, whatever the negative emotions are associated with, we don't want to come out of the comfort zone. We just want to be in the comfort zone and lead that the same kind of the life. But if one has to be a successful person, one has to develop the courage, especially the psychological courage, that is the resilience. You need to come out of the comfort zone. Once you are out of it, there is definitely a fear, like, will I be successful? How should I make myself successful in accomplishing this task? It could be routine things, or it could be learning something new, or it could be a goal. But even to set the goal, people fail, people fear. The reason is the same thing. If I don't achieve my goal, if I shape my goal like this is what I would like to achieve, people may laugh at me if I don't achieve it. So, and this kind of an fear would be definitely be there among the students, right? So, whatever is fearing them, if they have to deal with it, if they have to make an effort to try about that, definitely they will be moving from fear zone to the learning zone. So in the learning zone, it's like a trial and error. Probably few days they would experiment with something. They are very happy with it. Suddenly, like, as a part of human tendency, we become very lethargic. We don't want to try it again. So again, going back to the square one. But again, some other incident might be influencing them to move forward. So in the learning zone, we fail to initiate, even if we have initiated certain new tasks, new habits, new hobbies, new skills. Somewhere we stop it, and again we try. So there are ups and downs, but definitely once you have accomplished it, we'll be moving on to the growth zone. So growth zone is what you are 5 years back, what you are now. Definitely, like, none of us will be the same person, like how what you are 5 years back, what you are now. You might have learned from your bitter experiences, you might have learned from the others by modeling, or because of the maturity out of the experience, you might have molded yourself, and definitely you will not be the same person. So, can anyone tell me right now, if you take your personal goals or your professional goals, under which zone you are in? Okay, I'm getting the salary, or I'm happy with whatever position I have. So, comfort zone. So, can anyone respond?
Learning zone only, ma'am.
Very good. So, if we are in the learning zone, that means you have overcome the fear. You have also shed away that comfort zone to update ourselves, to see that you are an effective teacher and an effective mentor to your students. You have to be in the learning zone. So, from the learning zone, it would be easy to move on to the growth zone. At least one particular day, you will be reaching it. And once you, with regard to one task, if you have accomplished it, some other task, some other skill might be uh, uh, initiated, right? So there is always, it's an ongoing process where we have to dwindle between learning zone and the growth zone. But any student, for that matter, if they are in the comfort zone or in the fear zone, and whatever the failures, whatever the obstacles they have experienced it, if they are not trying to learn to overcome them, definitely they would be held up here. Naturally, like, when they have to face the people, or when they compare themselves with the others, they feel very inferior, they feel like they are not successful, or because of the bitter experiences or bitter failures, they're not trying to move forward. That means they have not developed that kind of an resilience attitude. So what do you think are like common stressors for the students, whomever you have been interacting with? Generally, like we can understand, intermediate is a crucial stage. They would have more of the academic pressures and then the unrealistic expectations from the people, from the family, from the society. But once they are into this graduation, not for all the courses they would be having serious academic stress, but still, as teachers, we would be interacting with them. So, what sort of stressors you might have observed in your students? So, can anyone respond? What sort of stressors that the students might be experiencing?
Fear.
Fear?
Fear. Fear zone.
Okay. Fear zone, fine. What are the stresses that they
When they are in comfort zone.
Exam stress,
exam stress? Fine. Then
academic
okay. Academic deadlines, some projects, some
deadlines.
assignments, yeah, deadlines. Okay. So anything else? Okay. Naturally, like they feel that once they come to the graduation, or sometimes like nowadays we are seeing, even when they are in the intermediate, or in certain cases, even when they are in the 10th class, they feel they have grown up and this opposite sex attractions are there, right? So this kind of an relationships, like due to the technology exposure, whatever, many people are into this kind of an opposite sex attractions, which are influencing them a lot. Yeah. So
Nowadays, filmmaking also, madam. Making
yes,
reels, posting on the Instagram,
yes,
using digital
yes.
media.
Yeah, digital media abuse is happening more than the usage. Like we can use the technology for better purposes and also for the wrong situations, right? Unfortunately, technology is used in most of the cases only for the pastime things, like as you said, making the reels, posting them, waiting for the responses of the people. If no one is responding also, that is creating a kind of a depression. Sometimes like if their friends are getting more likes, obviously that is creating a feelings of jealousy. So sometimes like these are also contributing to influence their self-esteem, self-concept, and making them think in a negative way. So heavy workload.
Financial pressures of family also, ma'am,
Yes,
nowadays.
yes, very good. So apart from these pastime activities, all children are not hailing from the rich families. So sometimes like the parents struggle a lot to pay the fee. And if these people sense it, like very take it in a very sensitive way, oversensitive way, naturally they feel like they are creating a burden to the parents. In certain cases, they do not understand the financial situation of the family and expect a lot by comparing with their friends, parents, and all that. So that also creates the pressure not only to the children but also to the parents. And yeah, classroom management challenges, like sometimes they feel like the partiality is given, or I am not recognized by the other children, that is other peers, or I am not like accepted by the teachers. So such kind of classroom management challenges may be there, or too much of strict disciplines from the college side also sometimes, that might be influencing them or creating them the stress. Then curriculum changes. Generally we say twice once in a year the syllabus changes, but nowadays like you see like with NEP and all that, very frequently there is a change in the syllabus. So teachers themselves experience the stress in creating, adapting to the new syllabus and all that. And when we have to expect the students to really adapt to these changes, all students may not respond to these things in a similar way. Quite intelligent students quickly adapt, whereas slow learners or little dull students, it would be in adding pressure to them. Then lack of resources. When I say lack of resources, it could be financial resources, as you have already pointed out, or it could be the personal resources, the psychological resources, like Some people are very good at learning, some people are very good at memory, or having the social support, the family support in making them understand or deal with the things. Then emotional labor, that is emotional labor here is sometimes like they want to express or they want to clarify the doubts from the teachers, but some teachers, not all teachers, they would not pay attention to it, or they try to scold the child in front of the others, or insult them in front of the others. So that creates like a feeling of emotional labor, that is they want to express their true feelings but they cannot express, depending upon the situation. Then pressure to meet performance standards. Parents might be having expectations. See how your cousin is studying in the same college or same age group, but how come you are not up to the mark? Or they sometimes compare with the siblings, with the other children. So obviously, like all these things also sometimes create the pressure on the child. And societal expectations like why you took this particular course, there is no prospects for that, or you should have preferred or gone to technology or engineering branches. So like knowingly or unknowingly, out of ignorance, many people wrongly give the suggestions and directions also. So the children might be under this kind of a pressure. So it could be academic pressures, it could be family issues, or it could be personal issues like interpersonal attractions and all these things. In certain cases, it could be the illness of the student or illness of the student's family members. So these things will also, like, because they are not directly in the control, once controlled, all these things will disturb the individual, disturb the student to a greater extent, and then that might be taking its toll on the academic performance or even on the uh, socialization. All students are not extroverts. Some students, they don't interact much. They feel they sit very lonely in the classroom or even in the playground. So we have to observe like what could be the reason, instead of labeling them as she is a dullard or he is a dullard, they don't mingle with anyone. We need to understand from their perspective whether there could be any problem. So if as a teacher, if you can really spend some time, if you can observe such students, talk to them, definitely like the student feels like I have been observed by someone is really concerned about. uh, Kindly mute yourself. Yeah. So what will happen when there are too many stressors that are influencing the anxiety and the stress among the students? Naturally, the working memory will be affected. Generally, children complain, right? I read, but I don't remember. So there are a number of reasons for that. It is not really a memory loss. When there is no proper encoding, or when there are too many things happening in their life and they have to take the responsibilities, or they are worrying a lot, obviously that influences the memory and executive functions. That is, executive functions are the cognitive processes. They cannot concentrate, they cannot focus. Obviously, all these things will also make them experience physical fatigue, psychological fatigue. And sometimes we see certain students, apart from studying, they also do the part-time jobs in the night or in the evenings. So like when they're not able to really have that balance between the working and also taking care of the academics, and due to the other responsibilities, that physical fatigue and psychological fatigue will increase, anxiety will be increased, that concentration levels will be low. And all these stresses and also these accompanying consequences like anxiety and other negative emotions, they reduce the motivation of the student to come to the classes. And even after coming to the class, they feel very mechanical. They cannot concentrate on what the teacher is saying. And the teacher, instead of observing them and focusing on what understanding the child's problem, if they are little harsh in their anxiety to complete the syllabus, obviously like that will demotivate the students more. And that obviously like influences the other people's behavior within the class. So in order to make the students understand and adapt to the normal situations, uh, how to make them build the confidence to deal with their situations, how they have to overcome their negative emotions or manage their emotions like anger, anxiety. One important life skill, in fact, which has been mentioned by UNO and UNESCO is resilience. So far, like resilience is considered as a psychological trait, but it is also considered as a life skill by the UNO and the UNESCO. So, if these resilience skills are developed right from the childhood, obviously you can see in the society like the reduction in the suicides or in the criminal behavior of the individuals because they are deprived of something, trying to kill others at the cost of someone's life and grabbing the things, or they will know how to manage their emotions when they are very aggressive. So all these things can be managed. Positive emotions can be developed if the from the childhood, if the resilience skills are uh, taught to the child, at least if not in the childhood, as they are coming into the adolescence or in the late adolescence, or just before being into the young adults, like when they are in the degree. All these ages are the transition ages where you can, as a teacher, may contribute a lot for the students' well-being. So we all know that resilience means ability to bounce back from setbacks. uh, in fact, like if you look at the nature itself teaches us how to be resilient. We see like certain trees, the big trees, how like even after chopping them from the ground level, still even a small root will again enable the tree to grow, reaching the sky. Similarly, looking at the water, looking at the river, we can see like how it floats, how the tides and other things are able to rise and then fall back. So from the nature, observing the birds, observing the insects, when they themselves have that kind of a resilient spirit, then why not the highly intelligent being, that is the humans, cannot develop the resilience? Why like suicides are increasing? Why the incidence of depression is increasing? Earlier, we used to see suicides, depression only in the very elderly aged people. But later on, slowly we are seeing them in the young adults or middle aged adults. But now the situation is we are seeing childhood depression, depression in the teenage, adolescent depression, that is, or suicides in the children, suicides in the adolescent. That means like technologically we are growing, but when it comes to the matter of development, the psychological development or understanding oneself, understanding the world, we are completely becoming a zero, right? So, developing this resilient spirit is an important aspect. If, as an individual, if you are resilient, people around you can also develop the resilience. As a teacher, you can impact the students. As a mother, you can impact the students. As a father, you can impact the students. You can impact the children and also the family members. So these kind of skills are like contagious. Consciously, we may impact the people, unconsciously also, even though you are not really teaching them anyone, but as people observe you, whether it is your own children in the family or in the college or in the classroom or in the society, people try to imbibe these skills. So one individual can impact many people, especially when you are in the working field, whether you are a teacher or an other employee in whatever form you are working. And once you develop that resilience, even though there are ups and downs, you know, one day, okay, I don't have the mood to read or I don't have the mood to speak to anyone. I'm completely disturbed. But with your resilience, you can definitely motivate yourself. You can overcome that feelings of being a loner or experiencing any kind of a failure, and you will start the day very fresh. I think number of ups and downs are there in the life, right? It could be academic failures, it could be certain personal failures, or you wanted some promotion, you worked very hard, you didn't get it. So that impact will be there for a couple of days or couple of minutes or couple of hours, but after that you would definitely know how you have to overcome that. If you are doing that, that means you have that resilient spirit. But in certain cases, we see even a slight failure, even a minor failure, people are taking away their lives, right? Killing themselves or killing others. That means they are lacking that kind of a resilient spirit in them. So if the human beings are filled with non-resilient spirit, obviously, and if everyone is trying to kill themselves or kill others, you will not see the society with human beings, you will only see the society with blood. So we have to see, in the current scenario, the current generation, though everything is present to them compared to the earlier decades, when everything is available in their hands, they should know how they have to wisely use the technology, wisely take the decisions. But unfortunately, that is missing. And definitely, life is not in predictable situation. We have certain certainties. We know this is life. At the same time, we also have uncertainties. No one expected the pandemic to happen. So we know how people suffered. We also know from that suffering how people develop that resilience. When people lost the families during the pandemic, family members, uh, how still they were trying to cope with that situation in a single-handed way. On the other hand, we also have seen people who lacked the courage committed the suicide because they could not save anyone, or they could not save their own family members, or ended up into the economic crisis. So life includes both certainties and uncertainties, but people with resilient spirit, resilient attitude will quickly adapt to both the things. So, in fact, there's a quotation by Oliver Goldsmith: the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. I think if you look back at your own situations right from the childhood till date, you might have been experiencing this statement. There might be a fall, some up, some failure, but at the same time, you also learned as to how you have to overcome. So this is what we need to teach the children. So how the resilient students will look like, or how we have to develop the students as the resilient students. What sort of characteristics as a teacher you need to imbibe? The first thing is emotional regulation. If you observe, people have become completely oversensitive. We need to be sensitive. We need to be sensitive to what is happening in front of us, what is happening to the people, what is happening to the pets, whatever it is. But if you are oversensitive, that means it is a negative trait. Because when you are oversensitive, you become very emotional, and your logical thinking will be blocked. And that is the reason, why that is the situation where people commit the crime, or self injury will happen. So here, this emotion regulation as to how we need to help the people to manage their emotions has to be taught. Unfortunately, no one is focusing on developing emotional intelligence in the children. We are only focusing on whether the child is intelligent or not. That IQ will always be there. To some extent, it is genetic. To some extent, the environmental factor. But emotional intelligence is something completely in our hands. And at any age, you can learn to become emotionally intelligent.
You are.
So this emotional regulation, we need to teach the children. Can you
You are.
kindly mute yourself? Then the second characteristic which we have to develop in the students is make them think in a positive way, make them develop the growth mindset. Not for everything, even for a simple situation, for a simple disappointment, they should not become oversensitive. And they should not stop making an effort. So that growth mindset and optimism have to be developed. They should be having the hope towards the everything, that is, whether it could be towards the people, whether it is understanding the world. Then they should also have a strong sense of purpose, that is goal, meaningfulness. What is the meaning that you are giving to your life? What is that you would like to contribute to the society, or what is that you would like to do with your life? It is not just coming to the college or writing the exams, but beyond that. And many children are very active. They are part of number of clubs, volunteers, and they are contributing in their own way, in their little way, to the society. So if we can make them develop that sense of purpose, I think definitely they would create wonders. Then support seeking behavior. what you will do when you are very lonely or when you are highly distressed as an adult. What do? You are suffering with lots of stress, or you are completely disappointed, you feel like you lost something, or you are completely indecisive in taking a decision. What do you do under those situations? What do you do? Do
We
you
will
talk
share
to others?
with others.
Yeah. So you
We will
either
share
you
with
try to,
others.
yes, you share with others, you discuss with others. It could be your close friend, colleague, or it could be your family members, anyone. But unfortunately, like that kind of a bonding, the family bonding or support from the friends, many people are not having that. They are mostly glued to these social media, Facebook, Instagrams. They have followers, thousands of followers on this social media, but when they really want some help, there is not a single individual on whose shoulder they can lean and take the help, right? So this kind of an social support is missing because we are becoming attached to the technology but not with the human beings. You have friends on Facebook but not face to face friends who can really meet you in times of distress. Then you can make the students develop the resilience by making them focus on reflection of the feelings. Okay, you felt very bad, you were very much disappointed, or you were very depressed, but what do you think? Really, is it really necessary for you to experience that feeling, or how that situation would have been avoided? What you could have done uh, to really overcome that situation, or what is that you would like to do now? So this kind of a reflection, that is to analyze the situation, analyze their feeling, take a right step now, these things will make them think in a positive way. They accept the problem whatever they have, and then they also try to look into the future, try to see like how this problem or this situation can be repaired, can be improved upon. So in that way, slowly we can give them to make them solve the problems whatever they feel that they have a problem. Or when as a teacher you can discuss certain cases whatever you see in the newspaper or in the news, and then ask them the solutions. If you were in that place, what you would do? This individual or this person has behaved in that way, do you think it is the right thing? If you were in that situation, what would be a better solution? So when you try to interact with the students whenever the time permits, either just before the class or at the end of the class, uh, talking about the worldly situations, the things that are happening around, and then involving them in that by listening to their responses, definitely like you will understand where they stand. And all these discussions in some form or the other will help the students also when they actually face some problematic situation, that I should not be oversensitive, or I should not give up, or I should not become very emotional, but how I can tackle the situation. Then perseverance and flexibility. Okay, failures will be there. You wanted something, you didn't get it, but go on consistently working on it. And you can also be little flexible with alternative plans. You need to have a plan A, plan B. So if something is not really working, you can immediately shift to the other area. So this kind of interaction with the students within the classroom, apart from completion of the syllabus, will definitely make them like grow as an successful individuals with a resilient spirits. So how the resilient people will be? They are very empathetic because they know the failure, the disappointment, the injury, the insult that they have experienced. They can also be very empathetic towards the other people. They can understand the pains of the others. They stop blaming themselves. They stop blaming the others, but they try to uh, analyze the situation and then take the decisions in order to resolve their problems. They develop the concentration. What is that control I have on the situation? What is the control that I have on so and so person? In what way I can uh, prevent myself being into the psychological distress? How I can avoid the pain? So they can focus and handle the situations. Then they are good at accomplishing the goals. Always for every individual, there should be a goal. Unfortunately, like as psychologists, when we conduct certain programs, even adults, when we ask them, what is your goal? They just give a smile. But unless you have some goal, even if it is a small thing, that will really motivate you, that will make you fresh every day. And that pushes the individual to commit towards a particular task. Then they also can see the negative things, adverse situations in a more challenging way. So like we are seeing now how this economic recession, people are losing the jobs in corporates. But many people, just because they lost the job, they were not into the depression situation, something like a transition phase. Earlier, like throughout week, we have been committed to the organization, but now let me nurture my own passion, how my passion can be converted into the income. So taking the negative situations, perceiving the negative situations into more of an positive challenges, and they are becoming more successful. So for all this, we need to think positively, and also considering negative situations, adverse situations in a challenging way. These kind of the things will develop the people to become more strong, more courageous, more resilient. In fact, like sometimes we hear the cases, illiterate women, probably somewhere in the rural areas. The husband is a drunkard, so due to the heavy drink, providing income to the others. So how, from where it has come? It is not always the education, right? It is the fighting spirit, it is the hopefulness, the positive attitude, the challenging spirit that made the people develop into this kind of a resilient attitude. So we need to improve on these personal traits, whatever I just discussed, making the child think in an optimistic way, managing their own emotions. Nowadays, we see like people like completely, immediately, very short temperedness we see. It could be because the family, the parents are also like this and they're imitating it, or child is very much pampered immediately. Whatever the child is wanting it, the parents might have sanctioned it, so they don't wait, they don't have that patience, they're very impulsive. Because of all that, this short temperedness, anger, anxiety, these are increasing. So once we can manage them, ask them to pick up those skills, how to manage their emotions, definitely like there will be a brighter way of contributing to their personality. Then support systems, as a teacher at the college, in the classroom, or if you have teachers as the mentors. Nowadays, like we have this mentoring concept. So this mentorship is not just for the academic remedial classes, but it is like to observe what is happening at their personal level, what is disturbing them, how we can help them to really develop these strong traits in them, the personal assets in them. So you can be a good mentor to develop the resilience in the students. Then how the college environment is, whether it is progressive, giving them the kind of the opportunities to grow, not just confined to the classroom walls, but make encouraging them to participate in extracurricular activities, uh, identifying their talent and motivating them, encouraging them. That also makes the student like when they participate in the competitions, they know how to win, where to lose, and winning and losing will be a part of the game, will be a part of the life. So all these things, unless they do experience in the field, in the playground, in the competition, they will not develop this kind of a resilient spirit. So kindly encourage the students to participate in various programs, not just to get the awards or the rewards, but to feel, to experience that kind of a life, what exactly the life is, how a person experiences the success, how the person experiences the failure, and how we have to go on, how we have to move on. All these things are learned not just reading from the books, but by experiencing. Then the professional development, we can prepare them for the professional development. We have to train them on various coping strategies. Like if you are under stress, sometimes people oversleep or they don't sleep at all. or they overeat or they don't eat at all, but what is the right way? Or smoking, generally if it is a boy, they feel like if they're under the stress, they have to into smoke. But instead of smoking or instead of retarting to the negative habits, what is the best effective coping strategy? So if we as a teacher and also as a parent, if we can focus on these things, definitely like the child will shed away the negative aspects and develop the positive things. And this is circle of control, influence, and concern. So generally, these three influences will be there on any one of us, not only on the students, but even on the adults. So circle of control is what we can directly control. Can you control the people? Can you control the situation? Can you control your management because you are not liking certain policies? So here, like the moment we say you need to have control, or you can control certain things, that is obviously related to your own thoughts, your own feelings, your likes and dislikes, your emotions, and your behavior. So what you feel like where there is a lapse, like do you feel like you are oversensitive, or you are always into the pessimistic thinking, you are always into the negative thinking? Identify that, try to modify that. This is completely in your hands. Whether like the pandemic will be again revisiting us, we don't have any control over it. Whether the war is imposed again on us, we don't have any control. But anything related to you, that is completely in your hands. So your thought process, not being over emotional, not being oversensitive, not being aggressive, not being very angry always, all these are in your hands. So if you can control these things, definitely there will be some impact on the people around you also. So this is what we have to teach the students, to identify those aspects where the person can exercise control, modify those things. Even if one or two aspects of our behavior is changed, there will be a lot of change in your personality. Similarly, circle of influence. What is this circle of influence? Can we do anything about? So, uh, as I said, through your balanced mind, through your balanced attitude, through your balanced behavior, you can influence the people, you can influence the family members. Suppose like if some student says, I like so and so teacher because she is very calm, very balanced, she knows how to deal the students, even those students who are very notorious or who are very disturbing in the classroom, or she might be having number of personal problems at home, but once she comes to the class, always there is a smile. She never brings into the personal problems into the workplace, into the classroom. So that is how like I really want like this teacher, like this madam, like this sir. So that is with what you can control, you are able to influence the people around. Sometimes even your own kids might be saying like, I like my mother or I like my father for this particular trait. That means you are impacting them, you are influencing them. Then what is circle of concern? Definitely we don't have any control. So when there will be a pandemic, or when there will be a war, or when there is an economic recession, or when our health will be affected, in spite of taking care, these things are not in our hands. So let us not worry about it, what is not there. But unfortunately, sometimes we magnify whatever we are seeing, and we develop excessive anxieties, excessive concerns. We disturb a lot, and we also disturb others. So circle of concern is completely like certain things where we don't have complete control. Let us not bother about it, but let us see what we can control, and through what we control, how we can influence positively the others. So what things which are not in our control, personal crisis like illness, just now I gave you the example. It could be illness of a student, illness of the student's family. He cannot have any control. When it comes to us, whether it is our own illness or illness of the family member, we don't have any control. Loss of a pet or abuse that is happening directly, you cannot control your siblings' family, or your children's family, if you are a married girl. So job loss, financial instability. So these are like not completely in our hands. Similarly, terrorist attacks. Recently, 2 days back, we have seen what happened at the Red Fort. We don't expect that. We don't expect ourselves to be in that place, right? But if we are there and if we are injured also, there is no control over it. Natural disasters. Recently, we witnessed in the AP the kind of the flood that has occurred, the pandemic and the war. So these are certain things like where we don't have any control, but once we are into that situation, we should know how to handle them, how we have to experience the or manage the crisis. So resilience is not a fixed trait. It is not like once you are resilient, always you are resilient. It depends upon how much you are getting affected with one crisis. But generally, people who are bound to face the crisis or experience the crisis and stood strong, they try to remain. But the intensity of resilience might be varying based upon the intensity of the problem. So, what are the factors that would help us to develop the resilience? Already I said social resources, that is, we are social beings. We have to be in the midst of the people. You cannot shut yourself in a room with a mobile phone in your hand, but unfortunately, that is what is happening with most of the youngsters. But they should come out of that. They should mingle with the people. They should know what is happening. Good interpersonal relationships will always act as a buffer whenever you are under the severe stress. Then learning the coping strategies, that is also very much important. So we all know about Thomas Edison, right? He said like, he failed 10,000 times in attaching that electrical circuit, but his statement is, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So this is the positive attitude. If it is someone else, I think whether it is you or me, probably with 3 times or 4 times, we might have got fed up and then we might have left it. But because it is the approach, the resilient attitude that the Thomas Edison has experienced it, he considered them as different ways, learning different ways of which is not a right connection. But he never considered that as a failure. So when you look at that kind of a story, can you think over whether you have that resilience to overcome the challenges that you have? How many of you feel that you exhibited this kind of a resilient attitude in your life, at least of recent, probably if you take 10 years, 10 years back, if you look into your life and till today, were there any situations where you developed this kind of a resilient spirit in you that you have shown in the crisis, that you stood strong and coped with the situation and also helped the family members to cope with the situation? Any one of you of recent, any such situations where you experienced a crisis? Initially, you were a little disturbed, but still you developed a resilient and coped with the situation. Anyone?
Yes, ma'am. We have faced such situations during COVID, especially.
Yes.
When our family members, the near ones, when they are
Yes.
facing. Once what happened is my sister came to me. She is not feeling well, and as usual, I received her. But when she went for checkup, it was given. The report came that she is COVID positive. Actually, I have arranged a cot along with us, but when she has checked up, that was revealed, and because of that one, that is a crisis. But yet I have faced it mainly. One of my friend, her sister-in-law, I think, his brother's wife. She has assisted ma'am and also her brother during such situations. So even I have given such a sort of a decision for serving the person, though they are suffering, and we have left one room and the upstairs, and I served. That is two things. One is just getting myself to uh, uh, face
Accept
that
the
situation.
situation.
And
Yeah.
also the motivation which I got from my friends, brother's wife. That is so I took it as a bold thing. So many phone calls came to me. You are having two small children. If something happens to you, what happens to them? You are not thinking in that pattern, but yet I boldly faced that situation.
Good.
That is my experience.
Very good, really. Right.
Thank
Sometimes
you.
these kind of crises will really make you more strong, and also like makes you create some purpose. Okay, it's not only helping myself, but it is also helping others who are in need. So, in spite of the obstacles, like others have warned you, cautioned you, but still you went with the decision to help others. That's a really good thing. So sometimes crisis or any kind of a distress will really transform the personality of the individual also. So let us not move away from the negative situations, but let us see how effectively we can cope with it. And this impact will definitely have even on the others, like how you have learned from the friend's wife. Similarly, like for the other people also, you might be giving an impact as to how we have to deal with the situations. So, one important aspect that we need to teach the students is the personal strategies. First important thing is self care. That self care is always important. Self care, when we say, it is not only about the physical hygiene or physical care, but also about the self care. Like how the mind is cluttered with all the negative thoughts, with the negative things that is around, or whatever you see in the movies, all these things will be influencing the students. So sometimes at least complete detoxification, like detox from all the technological devices, at least once in 15 days. And then that particular day, whatever they want to, wherever they just want to enjoy, like being in the nature, going some picnic, I think such things should be nurtured. So slowly they could connect to the people, connect to the nature, rather than being over connected to the devices. Similarly, like training them to really focus within themselves, mindfulness, like your program is also on mindful mentoring, right? Similarly, everyone at their individual level can practice the mindfulness, mindful eating, mindful doing the work. So that will calm down the functioning of the heart, brain. So that overwhelmed components will be coming to the normal, and that will improve both the physical and mental health. Then practicing mindfulness, number of videos are there, number of audios are there. We can stick to any one important tool that is really soothing. We need not like jump from one audio to the other audio, but whatever is soothing to you every day, like even if you are traveling in the car or in the bus or in the auto, you can just play it, and you can also make the students like listen to that whenever they are free, just for a couple of seconds or couple of minutes. That will also impact the functioning of the body. Then goal setting, always, like that is the most important thing. At least what are the immediate goals, what are the short term goals, what are the long term goals, making them understand the importance of the goal, so that like some purpose will be developed for the students, and they would gradually work towards it. Then stress management techniques we can teach them, like taking good diet, proper sleep. We see, like you have observed as teachers, many students, like they sleep in the midnight. Until then, like they will be browsing the social media only. But that should start even from home. If the parents themselves are tied up to the devices, obviously the children will also follow the same suit. But at least as teachers, if you can speak on certain things, like how that would really help them to be to have a good sleep, proper sleep, and be away from the devices, I think at least some students will definitely listen to you and they follow it. Then time management, like any individual, whether it is US president or prime minister of India, will have the same 24 hours. But I think definitely they are doing more than us. So why not we? We need not travel a lot, or we need not look into 101 things related to the nation. But if we can manage our own life, I think we can develop a healthier society, right? So reflective practice, make them teach the introspection, like last 1 week, what are the things that you have really been very happy, or what are the things that really disturb you, how those things could be prevented, what is a better way to handle. So few days, if we can monitor, if you are a mentor to your students and monitor that, gradually, like, they themselves will practice once it becomes a habit to them. And seeing that they are into a proper peer group, good gathering, collectively, a team has been developed, and collectively they are working as a team, and giving them the feedback about whatever good that they have done, or even if there is anything that to be improved. First, always like focus on the positive aspects, the positive effort that they had put, and then you can give them the feedback as to how best the task can still be improved upon. So these kind of the techniques, if you can really practice within the classroom, or if you are working as mentors, if you can really do that to your students, I think you can make the students more resilient. And this resilience, why it is important, already we discussed. So people will learn to be more flexible. They develop the habit of preparing the plans for everything, whether it is organizing an event in the college, or organizing an event at home, or planning for their own things. uh, People with resilient attitude, any kind of a sudden distresses, or sudden shocks, or sudden crisis also, they can absorb easily, because already they have tuned, like, anything I need to be ready to face it. That kind of a spirit has been developed, so they can withstand any kind of a shock, any kind of an emergency, ready to change, because they're flexible in their planning. They have plan A, B, C. Then because of their persistency towards the goal, even if there is a failure, they know how to take it, how to move forward. Then risk taking, sometimes they have to be risk taking, they should anticipate the risk, whether by taking the risk, if they are more towards the success, obviously we can encourage them to take a risk and then work on it. Identifying them to see what are their not only the positive assets, but also the weak points, weak spots, so that they can work on those limitations, they can improve upon those limitations. For example, like procrastination for a child, always delaying the things. The child is very intelligent, very uh, uh, systematic, but sometimes because of this procrastination they are lagging behind. So identify that weak spot, make them work towards it, make them reduce their procrastination levels by giving them certain exercises, tasks. Once they reduce that, they can see the improvement. So in that way, like, we have to inculcate practicing the resilience behavior in the children. So already we have discussed about these things, and communication skills is another important area. Unfortunately, we see the children texting only the WhatsApp messages, communication we are seeing. Sometimes it is very difficult to see, even in their answers, exam question paper, like they write WhatsApp text language, right? So, but proper communication, the etiquette, the verbal communication, like how they have to use their body language, making the eye contact. So all these things also, like, make the person more confident. When they are effective in their communication, that makes the person more confident, and the confident person will always have that kind of an resilient spirit also. Then the health psychologists say, like, these three C's we have to develop in oneself. That is Kobasa. He's a health psychologist who has done a lot of research. He found that individuals who are high on control, that is already we discussed, we need to exercise control over our situation. Let us not give it over to the others. Let us not completely hand over our life to the boss, or to the parent, or to the husband, or to the in-laws. We need to balance, like, to what extent we can have that independence, control over the situation. Then once you are committed to a particular task, whatever be the difficulty level, you have to be committed to accomplish it. Even if the situation is becoming adverse, then we have to look at the situation in a challenging way. So people who are high on control, commitment, and challenge, they are called as a hardy personality. That is, they can withstand any kind of a stress, any kind of an adversity. So if we can inculcate in the students these three traits, control, commitment, and challenge, obviously, like they know how they can handle the adversities, how they can handle the negative situations. Similarly, to these three C's, there is another psychologist by name Ken Ginsberg. So he spoke about 7 C's of resilience. Already, some of the things we have discussed: control, commitment, and challenge. So what he described is competence. Every individual has some kind of a self-worth, some kind of a potential in certain areas. If you can identify in the students in which field or in which aspect they have the potential, make them improve their competence, make them improve their uh, expertise. Similarly, like once the competence is developed or enhanced, automatically the confidence level to do that task, whether if the child is good at elocution or good at problem solving, good at arranging the things, good at organizing some program. So if you can help them develop more of the abilities, they become more confident. And connection, that is, they need to get connected to the people, to the nature, that is always important. And making them develop a proper character, a right character, and contribute to the society. They need not be Mother Teresa's, but whatever little form that they can do, like in their holidays time, like spending 1 hour in the slum areas, teaching them whatever they can teach, or trying to associate with some organization and spend their time in delivering the goods that are required to the needy people, whatever, in whatever aspect. Then learning to cope with the situations, probably if there are any wrong coping mechanisms, replacing them with the positive coping mechanisms, and trying to have complete control over the situations. So when we practice all these things, automatically there is an resilient spirit that is developed within the individual. So when we speak about the resilience, it is not always the academic resilience. It could be about the physical resilience, how we speak about immunity. Like people have understood the importance of immunity and they started taking herbal tea or this, that. If you look into the WhatsApp university, like all the number of reels and other things you see, right? So leaving all that aside, to develop that physical resilience, that physical energy, one has to develop the physical flexibility. We are seeing like now in the cases that are occurring in the hospitals, probably all of us or most of us, we started using these devices, laptop, mobile phones after a couple of years in our life, right? But now if you see this new generation who are born into this digital technology era, right from the infancy, they are into the gadgets. Their parents are also like happily they are giving them, showing them the cartoons when they are months old. So the more they are with the devices, obviously the kind of the flexibility with the muscles and all these things is decreasing. You are seeing like how we have juvenile diabetes, that is at a very young age when people are getting affected with the diabetes, we call them as juvenile diabetes, right? Similarly, juvenile arthritis. Arthritis, once upon a time, it was in 60s and 70s. Now we are seeing like around by 40s, 50s. But now there are certain cases where a primary school children, they are found to have a juvenile arthritis. That is like no play, nothing, always with the laptops, with the mobile phones, holding maximum time, screening into it. So that physical flexibility which we develop as children by playing or by using the toys, all that has gone. So always like constantly they are with these things, that is leading to the lower levels of physical flexibility. So encourage the children to go outside the classrooms, make them spend the time into playgrounds or learn swimming or whatever they like. That improves their strength, that gives them the physical flexibility. If the physically they are good, that will have an impact on the mental well-being. Similarly, like mental flexibility, how many of you play the Sudoku or crossword puzzles? Or writing something, expressing something on your own, putting it in the paper. All these are divergent topics which we are associated with. that is mental flexibility. Learning something new, at least like once in 2 months or 3 months, if you are learning some new task, that also contributes to the mental flexibility. So anyone of, at least in the last 1 year, did you try learning something new? Did you put in an effort to learn something new? It could be anything, need not be related to your profession. Or in the last 2 years, did you try something which you never tried all these years?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
we
What it
tried,
is?
ma'am.
What you can you share what it is?
Driving.
Yeah, good. Driving. So obviously, driving is not a simple task. It's a complex task, and you have your cognitive processes, right? Your perception, attention, your coherence. All these things will be enhanced, right? Yeah. Anyone else? So how did you feel when you tried first time driving, learning to drive?
It's a new experience, ma'am. It's very, we can say, it's very
Yes,
enthusiastic.
you feel confident, right? You feel confident.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably, you feel like you have mounted and the Mount Everest, right? So that's kind of a feeling that you get, right? That learning something new, always like your cognitive processes will be improved, your memory, your attention span, all these things. Similarly, emotional resilience. So emotional resilience, we have been discussing how you can manage the emotions, regulate the emotions. Earlier probably you are short tempered, but now you have completely learned to balance your emotion. Or earlier for everything you started feeling very anxious, but now you can manage your anxiety. For simple things you don't react, or you don't turn up into the negative things, right? Developing positive attitude, all these are emotional things. Emotional resilience. Spiritual resilience, like your value system, your belief system, the way you lead the life, whether a simple way of life or a materialistic way of life, whatever it is, but the belief in the way that you want to lead the life. So all these things, when there is a change in all these domains, automatically you might have nurtured that resilient spirit. So this is what we need to teach the students uh, in order to be more resilient. So another important aspect is self-awareness. We speak a lot, we peep into others' lives, but anytime did you look into your own self? What are your plus things? What are your negative things? Where you are held up? Where you want to really improve? Generally, like earlier, we don't know how many people are still doing it. December 31st, people will have a resolution list, but unfortunately that will never be practiced. But you need not wait for a December 31st or January 1st. You can look into your own self, identify things that you have to improve, identify what are the areas that you have to completely eliminate. So that also makes the person move towards the positive side. Then certain things we cannot accept, we cannot change. It could be your height, it could be your color, it could be any other thing, like the family in which you are born, or the kind of the illnesses that you have to accept it and deal with it. So once you accept instead of repenting, there will be a easy way to process the life as such. Then survivor is any kind of a stress, how you coped it, any kind of a crisis, how you handled it, that makes you a survivor. And that gives you the confidence even to help others and also to help yourself. So these three important things you have to remember. Always look into your own self rather than looking into others' lives, what is happening, what is that they're doing.
లంచ్
Then
బ్యాగ్ ఒకటి ఎందుకే వచ్చాక అనుకున్నాను నేను కూడా అనుకో అలాని పంపమని కాదు అవును మీరు ఎందులో లేదా మీరు యాక్టివిటీ పెడతారు
problem with the online sessions is this, right? So people log in, but they don't concentrate. They are into their own business. Generally, with students, it happens, we can understand. But even if with adult participants, if it is happening, I think that's the limitation with our online sessions, right? Actually, because of the technology, having online sessions, we can save the time. We need not really go to the venue and attend. But problem is, if people are not committed to listen to the sessions, for the organizers, it would be really waste of time in pooling the resource persons, pooling the people, right? But anyway, what I mean to say is, as adults, when we are not sure, when we are not following the digital etiquette, what can we expect from the students, right? Whenever there are any online classes for the students, we know like what is the situation, what is the scenario. Yeah. So 12 different ways of improving the emotional immunity. You know how to improve the physical immunity, how you can improve the physical well-being. But to improve the mental well-being, to improve the psychological well-being, you need to develop the emotional immunity. So we have to teach the students to nourish the mind. That is, use the positive self-talk, make the students speak about positive affirmations if they are having excessive fear of whether it is a stage fear, whether they are worried about the how to face the interview or about the exam. So rather than filling their mind with negative thoughts, negative affirmations, if we can replace them with the positive affirmations. And also, as I have already mentioned, trying something new, playing the Sudoku, all these things will really improve the cognitive processes of the mind, keeps the mind very balanced. Then strengthening family bonds. How much quality time you are able to give it to your family. Similarly, you have to ask the students also, like, what is the quality time that they are spending with their family members. It's not like eating across, watching the TV, or keeping the mobile across and then on the dining table and then looking into the mobile and eating. So all these things should be avoided. At least that 15 minutes or 20 minutes, if they can nourish that family bonding, having a common dinner, at least one meal a day together, that will strengthen the family bonds. Then how many of you really uh, talk to your children once you go home, like what happened in their school or what happened in their college? Are you eager to know about it? Not like as if you are trying to collect the information, not like an interrogation, but giving quality time to listen to your own children, their experiences, their narrations. So that gives them the confidence that I have a good bonding with my parents. I can share anything. Similarly, if really they are in any kind of a trouble, you can help them out. Then forgive past regrets. So forgiveness is not a impossible, difficult task, not an impossible task, but definitely it's not an easy task. When someone seriously hurt you and that took uh, the cost of your property or your peace, mental peace, whatever, but still, if you can forgive the person and then leave the situation there, you can live at peace. That will contribute a lot. Then me time. Nowadays we are speaking a lot about me time. How much time you can give in a week, if not every day? If you can give every day a 10 minutes at least, where during that time you are happily sitting with some book, reading whatever you want to read, listening whatever you want to listen, or if you are cooking, enjoying the cooking happily, or painting something, that is completely the spending time with yourself without having any other disturbance. So if you can give that 10 minutes or 15 minutes time, even if you are exercising or doing yoga without any disturbance, without thinking anything else, but only focusing on that, that can be considered as the me time. Then set a routine, a proper routine. Certain deviations here and there can be sometimes based upon a holiday or some guests have come, but otherwise a proper systematic routine. Then be open to change, any kind of a new things, new rules, new situations. If you're ready to try them, ready to learn those skills. If you see the pandemic, though many negative things have happened, the positive things are like the technology has been used by all the people, irrespective of rural and urban areas, poor and rich people, rich students, right? So that is one thing, like where people have accepted the change, like the use of technology, online sessions, and all that. Then prioritize the physical health, that is sleeping well, eating well, doing proper exercise, adapting a right attitude, that is being optimistic, Then anchoring the spiritual self. When I say spiritual self, it need not be related to the religion, but whatever you do, you are believing in it, trusting that, and then you are practicing it. Then another important contribution to the well-being is, we call this as parma. That is, try to be with positive emotions as much as possible. Minimize the negative emotions and be engaged with the some constructive work rather than uh, uh, being in an isolated way or not really connected to the people. Being engaged with the work, being engaged with the people, then building the positive relationships. Sometimes we see we don't know who is staying in the next flat, right? Instead, at least with, when you feel like people are, at least the neighbors are good, maintaining a minimal relationship with them, or even at workplace, trying to develop the positive relationships, developing a meaning in the life. So this meaning in life is not just for the adults. Right from the childhood, we have to inculcate this kind of a concept so that they would really move or develop a more concrete goal as such, and accomplishments. What is that everyone wants to achieve in the life? So where do you think this aspect you have to improve? Where you are good at, where you feel you would like to improve? So P stands for positive emotions. Do you feel like most of the time I'm with the negative emotions, I have to improve the positive emotions? Or you have to improve on the engagement, or improving on developing the positive relationships, or finding a meaning, or focusing on the accomplishments? Which one you feel you need to improve? Anyone? No one?
Increase positive emotions, ma'am.
Okay. Increase positive emotions. Sometimes we can understand even if you want to be positive, someone else might have disturbed you, right? So, or some situation might have disturbed you. So immediately that we might move on to the negative emotion. But irrespective of the situation, even though for a second or for a few seconds or for a few minutes you are into the negative emotion, how quickly you can come back to the positive emotion, that is most important thing. So for everyone there will be certain things, and you can make every child a hero in their life by developing the hope. H stands for hope. E stands for efficacy, that is developing the competencies in whatever they would like to, developing the resilience, and making them be very optimistic towards the situations. So this is called a hero principle, where every one of us can be a hero in our life. And we always have to remember that if you can take butterfly as a model, when you see its evolution from the caterpillar stage, no one will like when it is in the caterpillar mode. But over the weeks, when it has changed, transformed into the butterfly, everyone likes it. So if you can also give yourself time, definitely from your stage, like where you are like a caterpillar, you can evolve into a beautiful butterfly as such. So this is what we need to teach the students about it. And similarly, the college, also the college management, the teachers should always encourage the open communication, make them speak, make them express, give them the discipline, but at the same time, encourage them having that autonomy so that they can become individual, independent members in the future. Then collaborative work environment, practice dealing with them, the team performances or teamwork rather than always the individual work. So they will know like when to compete, when to collaborate, when to accommodate, so when they should cooperate. All these things they learn, and that's the most important thing. Then providing the emotional and instructional support, giving them the basic information, whatever is needed, having some counseling centers in the college where they can, whenever there is any disturbance, they can really like get the assurance that we have a counselor, we have a psychologist where I can go and get the help. So you can, as if at a college level, you can give the emotional support. Then whenever a student achieves some accomplishment, some kind of an achievement, like celebrate it in the class, so that that will be a motivation even to the others, and even these people will develop that kind of an confidence level that if I really put in an effort, that will be appreciated by everyone. Normalize the challenges and promote the solutions. So challenges, sometimes like serious challenges might be occurring in one's life, but we need to make the student understand, okay, these are very common. Like you, even some other students might also be experiencing the challenges, but how you deal with it, that makes you stand. So normalize the challenges, and what is that can be done to improve the well-being in the long run in your college campus. So conducting number of awareness programs on how they can identify the depression, how they can prevent the suicides, or how we can develop the psychological first aid. All of you know about the physical first aid, but there is also a psychological first aid. So if some of the students are trained in these aspects, like how in the NSS people are trained, similarly, like uh, students who are really interested to help others, if they are trained in certain aspects, they can really take the lead in identifying the students, other students who are in distress, and how they can be helped out. Then resilience will also differ in different context. Sometimes like we feel like urban based students, or students who are brought up in the city, they will have more of resilience. But actually the research says students who are coming from the rural areas or tribal areas, the kind of the resilience they develop is different, because they are not into the always the material comforts. So they have seen the ups and downs in the life at a very young age. So the kind of the resilience displayed by the children who are coming from the tribal areas or the rural areas, that's completely a different thing. Then similarly, we see cross-cultural classroom environments. That is, people coming from different states, like in Hyderabad, like in Usmania University, we see people not only coming from different states but also from different countries. So that classroom environment will be like trying to understand the cultures of the other people, trying to analyze the behaviors, what why a person from a different country behaves in this way. That cultural exchange will take place. So sometimes, like few years back, when we had an Iran student, a very good student, and you know, Iran and Iraq always like some war or the other will be happening. So here we always very uh, easily we comment, right? For India, democratic kind of a government will not work. People have to will change only if there is a dictatorship. All these things in a lighter vein or in a serious mold, there will be lots of discussions might have happened, right? So that boy, once he was mentioning, people in India are not understanding the importance of democracy. We know how much we suffer because of the continuous wars. We we miss our families. Always we live in the fear. We always aspire like we wanted a democratic form of a government, which we are deprived of. And being in this kind of a dictator kind of a role, when the country is experiencing it, there is lots of trouble, lots of sorrow, lots of tears that roll around. So, and we miss the family members in some war or the other, in some fight or the other. Sometimes it is a civil war, sometimes it is a war with Iraq. There's complete instability, which you people, that is Indians, are really enjoying it, and you're not understanding the importance of it. That is a cross-cultural thing. So the kind of resilience that they have developed, because in front of them, when their family members have been stabbed or killed, but still they're surviving, right? So sometimes the cross-cultural situations will also contribute to the development of the resilience in the individuals. So once we develop the resilience, obviously emotional strength will be developed, challenges can be taken, they can accept the failures. Okay. Yeah. So certain questions to you now. With this, I can definitely stop. But before stopping, we'll have some discussion regarding this. What challenges you have faced in your teaching career and how you had overcome them? Anyone? I think most of you might have had at least a minimum of more than 5 years experience, 10 years experience. So what challenges you faced in your teaching career and how you could overcome them? Can anyone share? Yes? No. No challenges you faced in your career? Okay. At least what strategies you might have used to manage your stress or burnout?
For myself, ma'am, I used to read Bible continuously.
Okay. 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 So
That
that's a
gives
spiritual
lot of
way of
confidence as spiritual
good.
belief. I used to advise the others also to read their religious books so that
Okay.
they will be they can they can overcome whatever the hurdles they are facing, because that gives a lot of positiveness, that is self confidence. As God
Right.
is, when we feel God is with us, then a lot of self confidence will be there, and automatically from each and every stress and the negative things, whatever happen in our life, we can come out of that one because of such things.
Right. Good.
Practicing the spiritual
Yes.
development
Yeah.
attitude.
Spiritual coping mechanism. Right.
Yes.
So anyone else? How do you manage your stress and burnout? Or next question, we'll move on to the next question. How you would regulate your emotions when you are with serious, stressful, or overwhelming situations? You are very angry, you developed an anger or a high level of anxiety. How would you handle it? There are almost 57 people, but no one is responding, probably on their way home.
Ma'am, may I?
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, in such situations when I face something which is an overwhelming situation like anxiety or anger,
Mhm.
I try to avoid that physical scenario where I am. I try to go away from that thing.
Okay.
Have a glass of water, count
Mhm.
up to 10, take some deep breath. And there
Mhm.
are certain things which I really like to do. For example, I have very, my son is of 10 years. So
Mhm.
in those situations when I'm not feeling good, I just hug him.
Okay. Okay.
And it is like a therapy or a medicine for me. Like when I am in close proximity with him, I really feel very happy and away from all fears and anxieties and stress and everything.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Then
Madam, we have a very limited strength in our classroom. So I think that I had made a definite impact on students, entry levels and exit levels.
Okay.
As and when I receive messages from them after going from here, so I feel very happy to hear from them that I have made a good impact on their lives, to achieve something more, to work better, to utilize their abilities to the fullest extent, like that.
So you feel like very fortunate to have such students, right? That
Yes.
you could really, your presence and the classroom environment might have impacted them, right? Yeah.
When I have academic work pressures, when I am unable to meet their daily routine classes, I immediately convey the message to them and I request them to adjust with some other work,
Right.
so that they should not feel bad for my absence,
Good. So resilience is not about avoiding the storm, but learning to dance in the rain. That is, you are there in the situation, but you know how to cope with it, how to take it in a very positive way. Just a minute, I'll see whether I can play this video.
Dear participants, if you feel any difficulty to speak, you just post in the chat box. Ma'am, I have a feeling that nowadays,
Are you able to see this video?
Ma'am,
Are you able to?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No?
no,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am. Ma'am, please ask the organizers to take that link and play it. Then that can be seen by all.
Okay, okay. Otherwise, I'll just show you the other thing.
Please share that link so that they will play.
Madam, can you post that link in the chat box?
Yeah, I'm doing that. See, like students, because someone has asked Mohana Gayatri, how can we empower students to take ownership of their own resilience and well being? First thing is like step by step, by giving certain simple exercises, simple tasks, we need to make them practice within the classroom. Then we can give them certain tasks which they can practice in their day to day life. So once they are used to that, automatically they can take that responsibility, that how they can identify, like to develop the courage, or how they can maintain their fighting spirit, how they can maintain their well-being and all that.
Madam, due to semester system,
Mm.
we are in a hurry to complete our syllabus, and as per NAC guidelines or something else, we are supposed to do some activities and document. So I think we are leaving the students' personality development aside by taking more focus on the academic issues, ma'am.
Yeah, so what we can do is, see, it is, if it is 1 hour session, is it 1 hour session your classroom?
Yes, ma'am.
So
1 hour.
complete 1 hour, you anyway you cannot focus only on the syllabus. Even if you focus, they'll get bored. So either in the last 10 minutes, if you try to take up some issue, discuss on that, make them involved, and then give the essence of what that they have learned, I think at least that 5-10 minutes is also okay, right? See, whether you speak 45 minutes of syllabus or 1 hour syllabus, it shouldn't affect much, because after 30 minutes it is really difficult to have the attention span. But after 45 minutes, in the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes, when you are making them alert with other aspects, it could be directly related to the topic or outside the topic, but when you are making them engage in it, you are contributing a lot more, right? Syllabus will definitely be completed, that's a different thing. Or if you feel every day it is difficult, at least once in a week, instead of concentrating on the syllabus, at least half an hour you spend, devote some time on this personality development or life skills, where it should not be like a class, but you have to narrate the situation, bring the students into the mode of sharing their opinions. It could be like debating or elocution or whatever, and then conclude it with some essence of it. I think that can be done, if not every day, at least once in a week.
Thank you, madam. Just like Red Fort incident.
Yes, yes. See,
What's
every day, like I think most of you, you may just look into the newspaper at least for 5 minutes in the morning. Definitely will not have the time to read the whole newspaper. But when you see the main headlines, you know certain things, whether it is positive or negative. So, if not the same day, at least whenever you have a discussion with them, you can bring in those things, right? Sometimes, like it could be a Disha case, it could be some Nirbhaya case, or it could be something else, like how the mother has been killing the children because of some issue that she had, health issue. So these are like from the social life, people learn a lot, children learn a lot. At least like immediately, whatever you are discussing may not have any impact, but somewhere that information will be encoded. If they are held up in a similar stress or an anxiety or some crisis, at least they will not take the wrong decisions, or they will not be into the wrong path. Okay, so this, I think we can conclude. If any other questions are there, definitely you can ask.
So all the participants, kindly switch on your videos for a screenshot. So kindly switch on your videos for a screenshot. So I would like to express our sincere gratitude to ma'am for her inspiring session on fostering student resilience. Your expertise has shed light on practical strategies to support our students' growth and the importance of three C's and seven C's, and many of these keys These guiding principles will undoubtedly help us improve our approach to supporting students' growth and well being also. Thank you for inspiring us to be mindful mentors and support our students' holistic growth. We also thank all the participants for your active engagement and interaction. Your enthusiasm and commitment to student well being are truly appreciated. Thank you all, and we look forward to meet you in tomorrow's session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Very wonderful session we had.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thanks to all.
Very lively and interesting, more useful session what we feel, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah. So once again, I also thank all the committee members, organizing members for giving me the opportunity. So I also enjoyed this session. Thank you.
Lot of appreciations are coming through chat box.
ఎవ్రీ స్టూడెంట్ కూడా కంపల్సరీగా గ్రౌండ్ లో ఇన్వాల్వ్ అవ్వాలి. ఏదో ఒక టైం, అప్పుడు వాడికి స్ట్రెస్ ఉండదు. ఎక్కడ క్లాస్ రూమ్ లోనే సరిపోతుంటే గ్రౌండ్ కి పెడితే ఎక్కడ.
Thank you
Madam,
all, and
please
we look
share,
forward to meet you in tomorrow's session.
Madam, please share the feedback link, madam.
We will send a feedback link in WhatsApp group. Kindly look into it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Dear faculty members, kindly look into the chat box also. We are providing feedback link. Kindly go through it.